we may fall, but after decades of hoping, it's nice to be here at all. They didn't see us coming, but we can make it alone. Let's just believe until we have to go home.
Morning all, welcome back to the opening day of Euro 2020. We've waited long enough for it, waited a year for it. But it's finally here. We have 8 o'clock tonight, Italy playing Turkey in the opening night of the tournament at the Stadio Olimpico, so it's basically an opening day home game for Italy. But I tipped Turkey yesterday morning, so let's hope that I've not jinxed them. Anyway, I've got 2 fantastic guests with me again today. Let me first introduce to my right, as you're looking at it, Sam North at Adventures. How you doing, my friend?
Very good, mate. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, we obviously met at Kelty Hearts versus Brora. A little bit different level of football to the Euros, of course. But yeah, we met there. We'd spoken before on Twitter and stuff like that. But yeah, no, great to come on. I'm absolutely buzzing for the Euros. Like you say, we've been waiting for how long now for this? And yeah, like absolutely buzzing. Cannot wait for tonight to start.
Sam's actually vacated Scotland for this because he's supporting England.
I have, yeah. As much as I love Scotland and want them to do well, there's only one game that I wish they'd lose, and that is the England game. Unfortunately, I will say that. But yeah, I love promoting Scottish football on my own channel, and I absolutely love it. And wish you guys all the best. I really do. But even just as a neutral, like I say, Turkey, Italy, absolutely love football from all corners of the world. So buzzing for even just games like that as well.
And my second guest, below me in the chart here, Juddy, the man who interviews your favourite professional footballers. How you doing, my man?
I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Been looking forward to this, and great concept you've got going on, mate. So no, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be invited on.
Juddy's gone full out for this, by the way. We'll get him to give you a twirl later on, but he's got his kilt on and everything. He's right up for this.
Yeah.
He's just going to be camped outside Hampden at this point.
I'll be camped outside the shop when it opens at 10 a.m.
Ken, don't unfollow Sam just because he's an Englishman. But we'll get into the main game firstly, I think, and then we can get into the main stories and all that kind of stuff that's came up as the tournament's getting started. So, Italy, Turkey, gents. What I'll do is I'll just get you to start off by giving us a wee prediction, and we'll go from there. What do you think?
Good idea, yeah. Juddy, do you want to jump in first?
Yeah. I think Italy is going to hammer them. Honestly, I think Italy will hammer Turkey tonight, and I know we kind of look at Italy as a squad where the past generations and how successful they've been in football, and maybe their squad isn't as up to scratch as what we're used to seeing, like the Pirlos and stuff like that, but they're unbeaten in 29 games, Italy. So, and they've only conceded 9 goals in that period. So defensively very, very sound. If Immobile turns up, they're looking good. Insigne, you can always rely on him, and then Chiesa as well, like a kind of someone who's new and kind of flourished recently in Serie A. So for me, that the experience in defence. I know Turkey have got Yilmaz and Yazici, as we've claimed the pronunciation today, but I think with the experience that Italy have got in defence, I just can't see them breaking down, especially when they've played so well over the last 29 games and such. So for me, it's got to be 2-3-0 Italy.
It seems like most of the chat are going with you there and saying 1-0 or 2-0 Italy. Yeah. What do you think, Sam?
I think, so I did a predictions video and I had Italy to go all the way and to win it. I think they'll win it, but I don't think that this game will be that easy for them. I think this will probably be the toughest game, and they'll grow as the tournament goes on. I've been watching a lot of like just recent highlights of the past Euros and World Cups and stuff over the past 20 years, and Turkey always seem to come out and do amazingly well when they qualify. Yeah, I think like they got to the semis of the 2002 World Cup final and have gone quite far in a few Euros that I've watched as well. And like I honestly think Turkey have got such an amazing squad, and I think to go through out of that group will be Turkey and Italy. I think they'll be competing for that group, but Italy will go on, probably progress, and in my eyes win the tournament. I think they might just scrape this game 1-0 or 2-0. I think it'll be tight, or maybe 2-1 actually. I think I can see Turkey scoring, but yeah, maybe Turkey will lose this one, come back and still get through the group, but I think it'll be a tight Italy win with Italy to go on, but Turkey also to do really well.
I think it'll be tight. I agree with you. Just looking at it, like the last few tournaments Turkey have been in, they weren't even in 2012, the Euros. 2016 they didn't get out of the group stage, so they've not had the best last couple of Euros, but I think their squad's fantastic this time round. It's probably as good as it's been, well, as far as I can remember. Anyway, you've got Yilmaz up front, who just seems to be scoring goals for fun, even though he's about 35.
At the back, they're looking good as well, with Kabak and players like Soyuncu as well. They've got some really good defenders back there.
They're just really strong.
Come on, he's
throughout
on
the whole
recently
team.
as well.
Yeah, he has.
But
It's just for me. Like watch us saying 2-0. It's going to be a 0-0 draw now. But for me, I just think how sound Italy are defensively. It's going to be really hard for any team to break them down. And I just can't see Turkey scoring at them, especially with kind of practically being a home game for Italy as well.
Pretty much, yeah. It's good that it's at the Stadio Olimpico for them as well. And good luck to Alfie there. He's got them in the sweepstake as well. I hope they do well for you and for my prediction as well. But
is it Alfie Mekawi who's got them?
It is. Alfie.
All right, come on, the Turkey then. Doesn't matter. It's out the window.
The issue I've got with Italy, I don't know what you two think. If Immobile's not scoring, they've got Insigne, but they're not. They don't look too strong goal scoring wise, and I know defensively they're solid as a rock. They always are. But is that a wee worry that you could see this being a 0-0 even if they dominate it?
For me, I think it's players like Immobile, and I think there's Belotti in the squad as well.
Belotti's there, yeah.
So I think one of them will explode. Like one of them's going to with the creation they've got behind them, like Jorginho, Verratti, like you said, Insigne, Chiesa. Like they players create chances, and even if they've got Werner up top, who's having probably the worst season of his life, for instance, I think they're still going to score. I think they're still going to score goals, and
I think they've got some good firepower as well. Like again, I think whenever even when Italy won the World Cup in 2006, you'd look at their squad and maybe think on paper it wasn't that great. Whereas every 10, 15 years they might all come together as a squad and win something. Like I think some of their most crucial goals in that World Cup, I think Fabio Grosso, their left back, scored one that was quite important, and they went on to win that on penalties against France, of course. And maybe attacking wise they're not always, like you say, the best, but defensively, if they can build on that, nick a couple of 1-0s and take a few games into extra time, into penalties, and who knows how far they can go. And like Juddy was saying, like there could be a few breakout stars, and like Chiesa is obviously a good player as well. And you know how it is after a tournament, someone will maybe get a golden boot you didn't expect, or have a few really good games, and their stock just rises. And that could be an Italy player this year, or a few Italy players maybe.
I do fancy Italy to do well, I must admit. Fancy both of teams to do well.
Same. It's weird that they're playing each other in the first game, because for me, they're two of the teams to watch out for, that people aren't really that hopeful of, if you know what I mean. Not like a France, a Portugal, a Germany, a Belgium. It's like these two are slightly outside of the conversation, but still might be up there towards the end of it.
It's got a very dark horse vibe about it.
It does, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've got Switzerland and Wales and other teams in Group A, and they'll be playing tomorrow, but I can't see past these two for going through first and second. Obviously, this game might have a bearing on that, but I could easily see this being a draw. Maybe a kind of tight 1-0 draw, something like that.
No. We've jinxed it.
No.
We've jinxed it. We've had a few 3-2s in the comments and 3-0s, yeah.
Man City's got a point there. Turkey don't look like they've got any breakout stars this time. They are relying on Yilmaz, who, as we've said, is at the end of his career at this point. Yazici is probably the one young player they've got who's really exciting to watch, I'd say. But Calhanoglu's been about a wee bit. Cengiz Ünder, it's still actually Cengiz Ünder's only 23, so I'd probably say him and Yazici would be the two breakout guys to keep an eye on, if you can still call them breakouts. But it is more an experienced squad Turkey have got, definitely.
That could play into their hands a little bit, though. Like you say with Yilmaz, like he could lead the line for them and just be one of those guys that we look back on. He has this great tournament where, he's come off the back of winning it with Lille and stuff like that. He could surely, score a few goals, and I'm sure he'll be taking pens, and like big lad up front, experience. He's surely going to get a few goals. Can see him score.
There's Ken giving you the that as a young Turkey squad, they'll be keen looking for the short window, which again is a decent point, because some we've not really talked about. I don't think anyone's really talked about in the run up to this is the Euros is a fantastic platform to get a big move for players as well.
Oh, 100%. Like they've done an article even on this kind of Scotland stuff, and like they kind of said that's why Lyndon Dykes kind of chose to kind of play for Scotland, is the fact that he gets that opportunity to put himself out there, and players will be looking to do that. Like I think the other day or yesterday, you spoke about Switzerland and Shaqiri and stuff like that. Like it's these sort of players who we kind of maybe don't rate as much because they're not playing consistently at club level, but this is their chance to go, right, well, I need a move here. Like this could be my last major international tournament if I don't get myself a goal here or create chances and do something special. And it was off the back of Shaqiri's like overhead kick at the last tournament that the next thing you know he's at Liverpool. So it just goes to show that proof's in the pudding. That's exactly what happens with these players.
I love there's been a Hassan Sass reference in the chat already. outstanding recollection there. But yeah, Finn just popping in there. France Italy doing well. Can't look past France much, but you don't rate their goalie. If you're meaning in terms of Donnarumma, he's basically signed on for PSG at this point, hasn't he? So there shouldn't be any distraction for him. But he's prone to the odd blunder here or there, isn't he?
Donnarumma, yeah, he strikes me as one of those players who could go on and play for decades and decades. Does he mean Lloris or Donnarumma?
I think he means Lloris.
I think he might mean Lloris. But I was just trying to find a way to weasel that into our conversation.
I know what you mean, but yeah, Donnarumma going to... I know Zlatan was a bit gutted that he was leaving AC Milan, I saw.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's obviously got huge potential to go on and play hundreds and hundreds of games. He started so young as well. But yeah, Lloris, I know what he's saying. Like, to see Lloris winning the World Cup, to see his arms lifting the World Cup trophy a few years ago was strange because, like you say, that France team that has Pogba, Kante, Mbappe, like so many outfield like amazing stars, and then to see Lloris win it, I mean, he must be great in the dressing room and be an inspirational guy or whatever. But I think he's right, like quality wise his stock's probably gone down a little bit over the past 3, 4, 5 years. I think he used to be considered up there with maybe De Gea and Neuer as one of the best in the world, but I don't think many people see him that way anymore, strangely.
Should point out we've got Tommy VT in the chat who is Turkish as well, so let us know how you're feeling about it, Tom, if you're feeling positive about tonight, if you're feeling positive in general about your chances.
And just another thing I kind of want to touch on as well. Like I said, I was really looking into Italy's stats last night, and the reason why, and no disrespect to the Turkish squad or any of the Turkish people in the chat, as you've mentioned, but like even like Italy keeping the ball, the pass completion over the last like 29, 30 games or something I've got here is 88%. Now you look at that over 90 minutes, over 30 games, and the pass completion is 88% and accurate. That's a really, really sound team who know where they're playing the ball, who keep the ball well. On average, every game, they have 64% possession. So trying to break them down, get the ball off them, get behind the back line, of which we know if Italy have got anything or well known for anything, it's their defensive line. So for me, I just can't see Turkey doing anything into them. And
Jody is a stat man. You might notice this morning he is prepped and ready.
Getting some great stats in there, yeah.
But I think it's fair to say that since Mancini's taken over Italy, they've been a different team, haven't they? It's
mad to see Mancini doing that, to be fair. Italy have got so many good managers as well. Like, you look at Conte and what he's done into the season. But yeah, Mancini going there and doing what he's doing. They've really got an exciting squad and probably one of the best kits in the Euros as well. You can't look past their kit if you're talking about Italy.
We're talking about two kit men here as well, not just, like, I know it's the Don saying there that Sam is the football grounds man. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But both of you guys are quite into your kits as well, aren't you? So
what kit are we talking about? Because I don't think I've seen it.
The Italy kit, I think it's Puma with like gold.
Oh yeah, I think I have seen it, and it just says Italia, and it's got the kind of split flag on it. Yeah,
it's lovely. Yeah, it's a really nice kit. But there is a few good kits. I said in a video yesterday that I was a bit disappointed in Scotland's kit for the Euros, but
here we go. It's just 15 minutes in, and the first Scotland digs in already to the Englishman. Shocking.
To be fair, I'm not a massive fan of our kit this time round, but at the same time, it would have been stupid for us to make a brand new kit when we've only just had that kit out. So I want something like this for the away again. Like,
there needs to be something iconic. It's your first tournament in 23 years. It would have been great seeing amazing
if we get through. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's true.
matter what
That's
the
true.
kit is.
I had a real soft spot. Remember the Diadora ones we had, and when you touched the
Yeah.
pads on the side, they were heat reactive, and you pressed the button and they changed colour. They were so cool. And the old Fila ones as well were class.
The Fila ones are really nice, actually.
Yeah, the old
Back
Fila
in the
ones
day.
were brilliant. None of them would fit me anymore, but yeah. Both kit
I'll just
range.
find out.
I had actually. I just didn't know what we're talking. I've definitely not seen the Turkey one, but I have seen the. I have seen the.
Thanks to Don.
What's that? Is Sam disappointed that Scotland kit doesn't have a St George's flag on it by any chance? Goes back to the Twitter drama
Slightly
yesterday, doesn't it?
disappointed. No, like I say, I would love to see Scotland go far. Like imagine just the feeling of Glasgow and Hampden and the rest of Scotland if they get through, it'd be unbelievable. I'm sure you guys have got stuff planned, and you know, like just being with your mates and your family, and not just having to watch qualifiers or friendlies and actually be at a tournament must be so exciting.
Bro, I buzzing. Can't
There's a
wait.
different spin on it this time round. The interesting thing with this Euros is because there's so many countries involved, stadia-wise, that everyone's going to rally round that, I feel like. So if Scotland get through and we've got another game at Hampden later on in the tournament, it's just going to make things even more exciting. Likewise with Italy, if they're at the Olympico in the knockouts, then obviously it's just going to get fans even more buzzing because they're going to have essentially a home game.
The hosts have
Even
such a
if,
big advantage.
Even if they're not playing in their home stadium in whatever knockout game it is, the fact that the games are getting played in the country is just going to ramp up things another level. So
Yeah.
Plus a lot of the players. Plus, a lot of the players there have played in Serie A, so they've had the chance to play like the Olympico and stuff. So, yeah, it's the little things that we probably miss, but they probably become so crucial at the time. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like if it was more of a kind of quote unquote normal times tournament, we'd miss the fact that one country or two countries together hosting it usually get an amazing experience while the fans are together. This is probably the time for this to happen, given that there's not going to be many fans in attendance. So give this a trial, see how it goes. But
Yeah.
I think it might be successful. I'm pretty sure that it's here to stay from what they've said, like all the different cities.
That's a good point. I'd never thought of it that way. I'd always kind of seen it as quite a negative that it's been in so many different countries when travel's been so hard. But that's a good point. I've never looked at it in the way of let's spread it out across different countries because people can't travel. Maybe it sort of takes it to those areas of Europe and gives fans a chance to actually go. So that's a good point, I think.
Just checking quarters onwards, they're not all at Wembley, CJ, but Wembley do have a round every round. Yeah.
I think it's semis and final are both at Wembley.
That's right. Yeah. Semis and final are all Wembley. So if England get there, God help us. The media.
Well,
just
the only two times there have been semis and a final at Wembley were 1966 when we won it, and Euro '96 when we got knocked out on Germany on penalties in the semis. So we've always got to a semi-final at least when it's been at Wembley. So let's hope that's the same again.
Right. We'll cut that bit out because that's not happening the third time.
That's not going in.
It's Pav saying, talking about dream teams and fantasy football and so on, Yilmaz can score a banger after watching a lot of Lille. He has had a ridiculously good season. If anyone doesn't watch French football, Yilmaz, you wouldn't think he was 35. He's still got a fair bit of pace. He's got a good burst of speed on him. He's just finished everything that's came his way this season.
His career's been amazing as well. Some of the teams he's played for, like he's one of these players that's had like such longevity in his career, and he's always scored goals. A lot of it's been in Turkey at some of the biggest teams there, but the experience that he's going to bring in, I think, is going to be really going to help Turkey in this tournament.
Just looking at
for fantasy, stick him in.
Looking at his background, he's also played for all of the big teams in Turkey, so he's a brave man. He's Besiktas, Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, and Trabzonspor.
He's like the Kenny Miller of Turkey.
He's the Kenny Miller of Turkey.
Right, somebody clip that. That is that's
Barack Miller.
Yilmaz is the Kenny Miller of Turkey.
Kenny
Outstanding shout.
Thanks.
Love that. Apparently, Barton thought you were a young Gary Monk at first, so you've got that comparison.
Well,
there,
I've had Eddie Howe, Mo Johnston, and now Gary Monk. So there we go.
And yeah, there has been a 66 mention. Well done, Malden.
Yeah, didn't take long.
So yeah, I don't really know what else to kind of touch on with this first game. Or are we going to move into the general England-Scotland debate now after this? But I think we've covered pretty much everything. We've given predictions.
Yep.
yeah, so basically, the main thing is we hope it'll be an exciting game that we've waited so long for it.
Yeah.
Don't give us a 0-0 bore fest, please.
Don't ruin all the accumulators up and down the country.
Yeah. Have you got any bets on, gents?
I'm going to go and do mine today. I'm going to do a few slips. Yeah, I'm just going to do a few. I reckon I'm going to do it like in a couple of day chunks in terms of accumulators. But in terms of, like tournament bets, I'm probably going to go Italy to win, like I say. And I'll probably pick a bit of an outsider for Golden Boot, but then just do like kind of couple of day chunks for accumulators, which I think Turkey will be a big part of going later down the line.
I think I might do the old man bet now, the old 50p scorecasts with a goal scorer. Like, I think I might just do it for every game. So like pick like a random player and then a score, and like probably like defenders, midfielders, try and stay away from the attackers, just to give you a bit of an interest. I feel with me, if I bet in a game, I don't enjoy the game because I'm just shouting at the one player to go and score. Like,
yeah,
he's getting the ball at the halfway line and I'm shouting to shoot because I've got him on a cooking. So, but you know, I'm just really looking forward to watching some proper football and some high level football as well, because these tournaments are always good to watch, and like you see, you get a collection of players which you get to see play once every few years. So it's good to see that. So
see, I'm not a gambler, but I probably will put a bet on who's going to win the tournament as a dark horse, and I think Italy's probably one that I'd look at as a dark horse with decent odds. Who do you think's going to win it, Juddy? We know Sam's get Italy, and he's
the thing for me is I really like Italy's squad, but for me, a lot of people are overlooking Portugal. Now you look at Bruno Fernandes and obviously Ronaldo is arguably still the best player on the planet, and then Pepe's come back on to have a great season this year as well. So I don't know, and then this could be Ronaldo's last Euros, so I don't know. For me, it's between Portugal, Belgium if De Bruyne comes back in time, and maybe Italy or France. It's between they four, but I just can't see Germany doing well. I'm never going to say England when I'm sitting wearing my kilt, so I'm sorry. It's not, but
that's fair enough. I don't think.
But the thing is, and we can speak about the thing with England. I think England's squad is 500 times better than what it was when they got to the semis in that World Cup.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
I think some of the players have even progressed who were in that squad, and come on to play some great football and improve their career at domestic level. So,
yeah, I also think, I said it yesterday, but I feel like Southgate's going to hold England back because he's
a yes man.
He's a bit too negative, I feel like, in his approach, and you need to be positive in a tournament like this. Unless you get a ridiculous one, like say Greece Scott, for example, just hitting the counter the whole time.
It's like Jody just said, he's a yes man, and at the last World Cup, the tactic was very much try and keep a clean sheet, and maybe Maguire or Stones will score from a corner, or Harry Kane will score a pen, and we still don't really. I know we've got a lot of really good attacking players like Mount, Foden, Grealish, but it still doesn't feel like we're hugely set up to go out and dominate the ball and win games, and it feels like that he's probably going to play 5 at the back, maybe 2 defensive mids in big games as well, and it's like, that only leaves you a couple more spaces for all these flair attacking players that we've got. And we seem to accept as English people that Croatia are going to dominate the ball against us and stuff like that. And it's like, surely we've got, like, everyone bangs on about the Prem being the best league in the world. And, you know, all the golden generation that we had of Steve and Frank Lampard, like a few years ago, or whatever. And still, after all this and after everything we've been through, we get to these tournaments and it's like, we're going to score from set pieces and just try and keep it tight and try not to dominate the ball and stuff. So, but hopefully it's a project that he's working on, that in a Euros or a World Cup time that maybe we are like that, but at the moment it doesn't seem like we are.
He certainly needs to, because if you let players like Mount, Grealish, Foden, like Rashford express themselves, they will hammer goals into any goalkeeper, no matter who it is, and beat any defence. So that's all it is, and it's going to be down to a lot. It's going to come down to Gareth's tactics, and the first big choice is who does he start, because he's got so many options, but then does he utilise the players by doing, like you said, playing 5 at the back and playing 2 holding midfielders against the bigger teams? I just think that spells trouble.
The latest rumour is that he's tried to do a Steve Clark and put fullbacks in at right centre and left centre back. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's strange for England and Scotland, because literally, like, all of our best players are fullbacks. So I feel like the managers are just trying to squeeze them in anywhere they can. Like, it's such a shame for Scotland that Tierney and Robertson are both left-footed. One of them being right-footed, it could have been insane. But it's the same with England. Like, look at all our right-backs. That's why he wants to slip Kyle Walker in to be a makeshift sort of right-sided centre-back and then have like one of the more attacking guys going forward or whatever. But yeah, I think all that depends on the game with England, like whether we'll play 4 or 5. But with Scotland, it seems like they try, like they're just trying to squeeze Tierney and Robertson in any way possible.
I think we've now found the balance. So the Holland game was really, really promising for it, because basically what Clark seems to have done is tell Tierney, right, your left centre back, but just run forward and underlap. And he just he's not really got a role at this point. He just steams forward, and with Robertson there's a really good duo down the left.
And can I ask you guys a question? Just a quick question about the rest of your defence. Do you see McTominay? Do you see McTominay playing as a centre back, or would you rather have an actual centre back in and have him in his best position? Because he's one of your better players.
Clark loves Hanley too much, I think.
Yeah, so, Clark said McTominay's a midfielder this tournament as well.
Yeah, and McTominay, for me, McTominay has to be a midfielder. With the players he plays with week in, week out, like his passing ability as well, and he's got strength there for even though he's young, but he's got a big stature about him. So he's one of the players who I think will kind of throw himself about and fly into tackles and create chances as well. He's one of the players that he's kind of got a bit of everything, McTominay, which I quite like about him. And he can score the odd goal as well. So I think for me, when he's in the middle of the park.
We've been quite lucky that Jack Henry's came through and looks really solid, because that basically solidifies the right centre back, and then it's either Cooper or Hanley centre back, like in the middle as the anchor now. So McTominay's been freed up to just be a spoiler in midfield essentially. Just picking on what Pav said there, do you think one of Portugal, France or Germany will go out because the group won't generate enough points for third to get one of the best placed finishers?
I think Hungary could do well in that group as well. They're the only country to be playing in front of 100% crowds at their home stadium as well. They're one of the hosts, and they've got 100% for the Puskás Arena, which could be a big factor. A lot of the other stadiums are 25-30%. I think Hungary could nick a point against someone, potentially Portugal. I think Portugal might go out. And just to say on France and Portugal, I know a lot of people are predicting that it'll be a France-Portugal final. There's never been the same final for the following consecutive Euros. So we've never had the same final as the Euros before, which obviously was France-Portugal. So I'm not 100% sure that both those two will. But to go back to the group stage question, I think someone could crash out of that with maybe Hungary finishing third in a weird way.
That's the thing, when you get a group of death, there's always that danger. I know we've got
That's what I mean, One of them can have a bad start, and then one of them can have a bad start.
It's like that. Those games will be massive when they're all playing each other, because if they share the points around, then all three go through, you'd think. But if say Portugal get a bad start against, like, who's it Portugal play first? I'll need to double check. But say if they get a bad start, suddenly they lose a point against Hungary, and they only get a point against Hungary, then they're in big, big trouble. So that's probably going to be the most interesting group to watch, other than biased side.
It's intriguing, everyone's talking about that group. It is the group of death, to be fair.
The first game for Portugal is away to Hungary on Tuesday the 15th. So Hungary
so
at home
don't win that
against Portugal, and then it's France versus Germany the next day.
And also, how often do you see teams, the big teams, even lose the first game but come back and finish the tournament strong? Look at Spain when they won the World Cup; they lost against Switzerland. Like, there's always one or two shocks, and then teams can either come back or, they slip up. Like, look at Germany in the last World Cup, went in as holders. Didn't they get knocked out in the group stages after a couple of dodgy results?
And that happened with Argentina as well, and they had to beat Nigeria or something to go through to the next stage.
I'm sure Spain won the World Cup and then crashed out in 2014 in the groups as well.
That's right, they did.
It can happen. Like, the holders, the pressure on them, and also I think there's a lot of when you're a holder, I think they try and keep the team together from those other tournaments, and obviously that other one was 5 years ago now. There's been a lot of transition in the Portugal squad, that they do look strong now with Bruno and Jota and players like that. But will the pressure be too much? Will they have already got enough out of that squad? I'm not sure.
Good point.
You kind of feel that Portugal's right on the edge of the cliff. As soon as Cristiano retires, they're going to lose a bit of identity there, because he just.
It's like Real Madrid. As soon as he left there, it's like they really struggled.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, they've got a filthy front four just now, and they'll still be really good going forward when he retires, but he's just so much of the identity of that Portugal side that, do you think there's a danger that he could retire if they go out in the group stages here?
I think he'll go
international
World
wise
Cup.
anyway.
I think he'll stay to Qatar.
Yeah, I think he's got a World Cup in him because obviously, Ronaldo's mentality, and we've all seen it, he wants to be the best, so he's never going to pass up an opportunity to go and win a World Cup or try and win a World Cup with Portugal. Plus the fact that he's so fit for his age as well. I don't know, but you look at play. I just think Portugal have been so underlooked in this tournament. Like Diaz, Pepe, like Jota. They've just Bernardo Silva, Fernandes, Ruben Neves, Moutinho. I don't know if Moutinho's in the squad, but
Diaz and Cancelo as well at the back.
Yeah,
They've got
Cancelo as well. Like half their team is like playing top Premier League football, and then the rest are scattered across the top leagues in Europe. So for me, it's I don't know. I just really fancy Portugal. That's my kind of.
I know what you mean. Yeah, looking at their squad. To be fair, it is amazing. Like on paper, like you say, it is unreal.
It's phenomenal. So
It is a fantastic squad, to be fair. Especially when you list the names out, you cannot deny that at all. There's actually been a couple of people have mentioned in the chat. Do you think Hungary might struggle a wee bit because Szoboszlai's injured and he's not made the squad because he's their talisman?
Good pronunciation as well. Yeah, he's one of the Leipzig lads, isn't he? He's come through the Red Bull at Salzburg and then now at Leipzig. Yeah, it could be a big factor. I feel like that maybe with Hungary though, it's maybe not down to maybe one individual that would determine how they do. I still think, even though he's one of their star men playing now going forward in one of the biggest leagues, he'll be playing in the Bundesliga going forward. But maybe with them, it won't be down just to one player, and it could be more of a team effort, like I say, in front of a full Puskás arena. But yeah, then again, you do take a best player out, then it's always going to affect you, isn't it?
Do you know Leipzig have 9 players from their squad and playing in the Euros?
9 players, that's mad, isn't it?
9. Yeah. The only team higher than them in the Bundesliga, I think, is Dortmund. I think Dortmund have got 10. So like they're the second highest team, I'm sure.
Disco's just backing up Juddy there, saying going out on a limb, saying Diaz Pepe is the best centre back paid in the Euros. That's a bold claim. That there's a few good ones.
Yeah, like you've got Fonte as well though, which I think Jay wrote in the chat. Like,
yeah, Fonte's starting 100%. Jay says.
But Pepe's also got a red card in him as well.
Yeah, he's got several red cards in him. Let's be honest. It's kind of guy you don't want on in a quarter final when you're losing 2-0. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing Alfie's put in that's a decent point. Worrying part about the Portugal squad is most of them play together as well, so they know each other really well.
That full right side of Silva, Diaz, Cancelo, like they play week in, week out.
Yeah.
Then the midfield, Neves, Fernandes, Moutinho play in the same league, week in, week out. Know their players. You could play anybody with Ronaldo. So that's for me is why they're my pick. And it's nothing to even do with the holders. I think like we said again, their squad, like we're talking about the England squad, their squad has come on leaps and bounds, and they've had the kind of revival of Pepe there if needed because he's had such a good season as well. So Patricio I think is a goalkeeper as well who's at Wolves. So really hopeful. So.
Theorist gets it. What do you mean worrying is in they might steal the Euros from Scotland? Absolutely.
No, we're just giving them a bit of hope.
Right? Back to 2014, Spain had played the same 11 over and over. Is also true, Ken. I feel like we're only going to get a proper grasp on these teams once we've seen them in the flesh once, at least, in a game. Because that'll tell us a lot about where they're sitting, how confident they are, the way they're going to play. It's all ifs and buts until we actually see the games, isn't it? Which is why I'm just delighted that we're actually going to get started today, finally.
I know, it's going to be thick and fast. We've got, 3 games a day or something in the group stages before the knockout rounds. It's always the best. Well. Yeah, it's always the best, isn't it? Like, the pubs will be rammed and, you can get out, there'll be 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, just all day football. It's going to be mad. It's going to be so good.
There's a day, I'm pretty sure there's 7 games when you go to the Euros and then into the Copa America as
Copa America as well. That's an interesting one, because that was looking like it may not even go ahead because of all the restrictions down in South America that they've got right now.
You think the Euros are bad for planning?
Yeah.
But Don's trying to bring us back in a Scotland question here. Do you think guys like Jack and McLean are a big miss? Jack in particular has really helped us improve results.
Yes and no. In my eyes, Jack's just kind of drawing the short straw, and the fact that there's so many players. It's a strong. You can argue quality-wise that Robertson and Tierney, the fullback situation, is probably the biggest problem. However, I think our one of the best problems that we have is we've got so much talent in that midfield now. McTominay playing at a higher level, Gilmore playing at a higher level. So it's really
McGinn's huge. Well, I think McGinn would have been a bigger miss than Jack. But still, Jack's obviously a really good player. But I think, if you were to pick a position where Scotland were to lose a player, if you had to, then it'd probably be midfield. So you've already got quite a good midfield. You wouldn't want to lose Shea Adams or maybe Ryan Frick, like one of the attacking players. I don't think attacking-wise Scotland have got too many. Even defensively, you've got a fairly solid few players there who are pretty good, but I'd say in midfield it's probably not so bad to lose one of those guys because you've got quite a few good ones already.
To be honest, I don't think McLean's that big a miss compared to the type of players we've got in there. I think Fleck's a like-for-like replacement for McLean for what he gives you. Jack, I'd say, is the bigger miss because he's not just a spoiler, he's a fantastic kind of ball winner, but he's also got a pass in him. He's a guy that starts a move really, really well. We don't really have a like-for-like replacement for Ryan Jack. I suspect McTominay is probably going to start as our ball winner in midfield now, but he's not the same player. McTominay's got more of a mistake in him. He's a bit more clumsy in a tackle as well, gives away a few more free kicks. Jack, for a lot of people don't realise, he's quite an accomplished kind of technician as well. He doesn't give away too many balls, he keeps possession really well, so we'll see how that affects us. But the other thing with McTominay on the flip side is he can bolt up to the edge of the box, the opposition's area, and maybe get a shot away. So we'll see how the balance goes. I'm still pretty positive that it won't affect us too much. But as you say, Sam, if we lost Shea and Dykes, we'd be in trouble. So touch wood, we keep those positions fit anyway. There it is, Judy's on it. Yeah. What's that? Best bet for all you Scotland men? I mean, us. Clearly. It's Shea Adams be Scotland's top goal scorer at 5-1. Jay's saying it's not bad actually.
That is a good bet actually.
And that's the other thing that people overlook with Jack. Jack's 2-footed essentially. McTominay's left foot isn't present really very much. Anyway, and he is underrated. I totally agree with that as well. But who's Scotland's starting midfield? We should probably go there because we're going to end up there. Judy, we'll start with you.
For me, the number, and I'm sorry, I'm going to turn heads here, but Gilmore has to be in there for me. We spoke about it before we went live. We spoke about when he came on against the FA Cup against Liverpool, and he had Fabinho and Ronaldo on toast that game. And for me, he's the future of our he's the next future captain, if you will, of Scotland, or one of these players. He's a generational talent. For me, this gives him an opportunity to go out and show what he's worth and play so well. So for me, I'm kind of undecided in the other two, but one man who I want in there, and I want to, we've done so well to get here, so what have we got to lose by not playing him? So for me, Gilmore has to be in there. So I'll let you pick the other two, but for me, Gilmore has to be in there. That's just my opinion.
Go on then, Sam. What do you think?
Cool. I think Gilmore as well. I would love to see England playing Jude Bellingham, but I don't think Southgate will do it. I think technically he's one of our best players, and just for what he offers, in his sort of tenacity in the game as well, fearless young player. He's a fearless young player, and I feel like that's the same with Gilmore. But something strikes me about Steve Clarke and about Gareth Southgate that they won't play those players in this tournament. They'll think they're not ready or whatever. But I think sometimes as a British manager, they don't have I don't know what the word is. Maybe they don't have the balls to play these players sometimes to take those risks.
I was just about to say
cojones. I was thinking cojones. Yeah, Troy Deeney said that once, didn't he? Arsenal didn't have the cojones or something.
But Arsenal, that was
as well as Gilmore, like Joddy said, he's on a path to greatness. I reckon he's going to be. Yeah. You look back in 20 years, he'll be one of Scotland's greatest of this era, if not the greatest. But I'd play him, probably McGinn and McTominay as well. Surely they've all got to start.
That's a good shout, McGinn and McTominay. I would be happy with that. McGinn's one of the players as well who can produce a moment of magic. He gets the ball and finds himself in 2 yards of space, 30 yards out. He's got that McFadden-esque kind of strike in him. Do you know what I mean? To put one in the top bin from there, and also good from set pieces as well. So, yeah, I'm quite easy Aussie with that midfield three.
I think my ideal midfield three would be McTominay, Gilmore, and McGinn. But Clark is definitely going to play McGregor. He's never not played McGregor. So
Oh, yeah, true.
I think he's probably going to go McGregor, McTominay, McGinn.
What about Turnbull? What are your guys' thoughts on him?
I really like Turnbull.
I really like Turnbull, but it's one of the ones. Do you look and has he got that much? I know he came well on for Celtic at the end of last season and whatever, but it's just I don't know whether he's. I'm not staff because I think Gilmore's younger than Turnbull, but I just don't. I think Gilmore, because of where he's in Chelsea's academy and having that sort of players around him, I just think Gilmore's slightly more ready than Turnbull right now.
I think even though, like you say, the age. Yeah, like you say, the age is a factor in it, but they're kind of similar in that they're both young players. But Gilmore maybe has a higher ceiling, so you might even want to start him off a lot earlier than
him. Plus, you would kind of compare more. I think you would maybe compare more McGinn to Turnbull. That kind of playing style. So for me, McGinn takes it all day. Do you know what I mean? So currently, but.
There's a bold thing in the chat there. We've chatted a bit of Scotland midfield. Let's move to England. Bellingham just as good as Foden. Don't at me, says Jay. Won't start the first game, Pav reckons, but he'll be in the team by the end of the groups. I wouldn't be surprised to see that as well. Yep. I think, to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me to see England line up with your tried and tested guys against Scotland initially. So your Sterling, Rashford, Kane combo up front, and I would be delighted if they do that, because
I know I've got a stinking feeling that Southgate's going to play Sterling. And you look at the Champions League final, Pep only played him because of some weird loyalty that he has to him, and he thought, I've been here so many years, he has scored so many crucial goals, I'm going to play him in the final, when in reality it really damaged them in that game to do that. And I feel like Southgate might do the same.
The thing with that game as well, though, is Reece James had probably the best game of his career that night.
He did.
He was unreal.
I think he could have put Messi out there, and Reece James would have done a job against him. Honestly, it was unbelievable that night. So I really rate Sterling though. I just think that actually with Pep, like you said, is he rotates that squad so much, and they just play like 1 week he's on the right, next week he's on the left. Silva's in, then they're out. But yeah, no, I'd be happy if they played Rashford and Kane, but Sterling for me causes bother.
Yeah. As a player, you can look at his stats over the past few years, and of course, he's scored a lot of goals, he's won a lot of trophies. But I do think over the last maybe 2 years, his stock's fallen slightly. He's not quite at the same level as what he was, and I would rather than play a player who's on sort of a downward trajectory. I'd rather keep him in the squad. Of course, he deserves to be in the squad, I'd say, but surely Sancho and Grealish are just the on-form guys at the moment who are going like this, as opposed to Sterling, who's maybe going down the way.
I mean, the other thing with Sterling's just not in great form the past couple of months, just generally.
He's just one of the players for me who's just dangerous because you know what he can do.
He can, but he's also not a goal scorer. He scored one or two for England here and there, but if you're playing against, say, Scotland, and from our point of view, if England get a gilt-edged chance, Kane takes it. Sterling half the time doesn't, so he doesn't really scare me as much. Rashford's still injured, but he's still playing. Ideally, he probably shouldn't be in this tournament. I'd suggest to heal up, but
there's a few players like that we've got.
Euros, are you? So
there's a few players that are sort of in that bracket that you just mentioned. With Rashford, Henderson as well. Maguire has barely played as well. It's like we've brought all these players along.
If England play Maguire and Henderson against us, I'd very much fancy us to take something off him.
So Sam, just being English and stuff, Rice or Henderson?
In an ideal world, Henderson, but at the moment with how he is, they're both fully fit, I think you can't look past the Liverpool captain who's won the European Cup and won the Premier League. Just for what he's done and what he obviously brings to the team, he's even in Liverpool's team, he's not technically the best, but he sets the tempo for the midfield and he leads by example a lot on the pitch, which I think a lot of players feed off. But in an ideal world, it'd be Henderson, but right now you'd have to say Declan Rice, just purely for the fact that look at that game the other day that Henderson came on at half-time, the friendly, and he missed a pen. It's like you can tell that he maybe is trying a bit too hard to taking that penalty. He wanted to be the man to score, of course, and to show people that he was ready, and he missed. It's like
What
Is
was,
he really ready? You know what I mean?
what was the story behind that? Because there was a bit of blow up in the media, and as usual, the media blow everything up. that
Yeah, I
doesn't
think they blew
need
it
to
up a
blow
little
up.
bit too much. It's a friendly in the lead up to a tournament. I don't think there would have been any huge fallings out over it. But
Yeah.
you know, classic English media just to like ham up a story rather than support the lads. But yeah, I think Calvert Lewin should have took the pen, but Hendo wanted it. I mean, I think you can say that's absolutely fine in a sort of friendly against
the
Romania.
English media has been most excited in the build up about somebody's hair. Never mind the football. So
That sums it up.
less
It was
is the
like
better.
before the World Cup in 2018, they were focusing on Sterling's tattoo and
That's right.
all that
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of stuff. It never helps. And also something that never helps with us, which I'll just go back to quickly about the injuries, you know, the Maguires, the Hendersons, the Rashfords. We've always done this. I don't know if you remember Rooney broke his metatarsal.
That's
Yep.
right.
I think before the 2006 World Cup, and he had a stinker. Same with Beckham, I think, in 2002. And there was a picture of Beckham's. They printed a picture of Beckham's boot in like all the papers, and everyone was kissing it before the World Cup to try and miraculously, through some weird national effort of kissing this. Somehow it was going to make him better, but it didn't, and it always holds us back. And rather than playing the in-form, fit players like we should, we always take players based on their. Based on what they've done, like Sterling. Like we took Jack Wilshere to the last Euros in 2016 when he hadn't kicked a ball all season. Danny Drinkwater had just come off the back of winning the title for Leicester and was unbelievable that season. I know he's gone on to not do that well, but he was unreal after Leicester won the league and we didn't take him. It's classic England to take people based on reputation of the club they play for as opposed to how well they're playing.
I still remember the video montages of Beckham on a mini trampoline trying to heal up his metatarsal. That was something. But there's Maladin. Yeah, the entire halftime team between Nigeria and Slovenia about Wayne Rooney's metatarsal. It was constant, wasn't it? But to be fair to Scotland, normally I would accuse our past managers of being the same way, that they pick on reputation rather than the way players are. But I think the only miss Clark made was not getting Ryan Gold in the squad, in my opinion.
Oh, that was huge. I couldn't believe that, yeah. How good he's been this season.
It doesn't really fit what Clark does tactically, so I can kind of get where he's came from with the amount of midfielders we've got that were up with a shout. He has generally picked on form. The likes of Turnbull have got in the squad. Gilmore, even though he's not played a full season, when he's played he's been outstanding and he's fresh, is the other thing. We've got a lot of freshness in our squad. McGregor's the one that's a bit burnt out that I don't think should be starting because he's burnt out. And you can tell he's not had a break for about 2 years now. So he's probably going to underperform for us, I suspect. But even offensively, we're
a player
pretty
I'd
fresh
quite
now.
like to ask you about, Lewis Ferguson, thoughts on him going forward?
I'll let you go, Juddy, first.
I was just going to say I'll let you go because I'll get no clue.
Right, okay, I'll jump in then. Rangers are interested in him, apparently. He's had a great season with Aberdeen, but he is a bit of a hothead. He's prone to quite a heavy challenge when things aren't going his way and so on, but I think he's got potential to be an international, definitely.
Yeah,
Is this the boy that was getting into bother with the fans and stuff about his attitude and stuff like that?
He did at one point, but he's a very, very solid midfielder. I think actually Scott Brown going to Aberdeen will help him develop. Because especially the mental side of the game, Scott Brown used to be very similar to what Ferguson is, a wee bit hot-headed, kind of combative midfielder. That could work out really well for his long-term
Could Scott Brown not have been someone that Steve Clark could have looked to maybe pull out of retirement for a tournament like this?
No,
never.
His legs have gone.
He's not fit enough. Plus, he's you even seen it at the end of when Celtic weren't doing so well. It was more kind of he was in that Celtic squad to try and get his results rather than putting him in there for ability. So
right, okay.
I think he's left at the right time, Scott Brown, even at Celtic. I think he didn't have another season in him.
He's left with good memories. When at the start of the season, the Celtic fans began to turn on him a wee bit. I felt like
it's a shame he doesn't get the send off. There's a lot of players who are maybe retiring or leaving big clubs, which is a shame. But I'm sure if Aberdeen, if he's playing, he'll go and get a good reception when they play at Celtic Park.
Kind of fancy friendly at some point where he'll just don a Celtic jersey half the game or something.
Yeah, the testimonial. The fancy friendly.
Another good point from the Don there. Ferguson was basically McGinn's position, so that's a hell of a hurdle to overcome to get in there. Still very unsure about Brown to Aberdeen. That's a whole different kettle of fish there, Finn. A lot of the Aberdeen fans aren't very sure
It's
about
weird
it.
seeing him in an Aberdeen kit.
It just looked weird.
He done a poll on his Instagram, and it was him in an Aberdeen kit, and it was yes or no, and it was like 89% voted no.
Know your audience, Scott.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Jay is right on the same line of thought as I am. The one guy out of the pulled out of retirement, Alan McGregor.
Yeah,
after
I
the
think
season
so as
he's
well.
had, and
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, David Marshall got is there, so he deserves a gig. Like,
It goes back a little bit to what we were saying about picking on what they've done rather than maybe what's better for the team at the time. Like, it's a bit of a emotional decision to say, oh, he won us the penalty shootout. He was doing that to the ref, and it was that iconic moment. You know what I mean? But maybe the best thing would be to put McGregor in.
I think, yeah, McGregor. I'm pretty sure he said he would never come out of retirement, which is why he's not there. But I think Marshall probably is on balance our best keeper at the moment. And like, talking of sentiment, if Clark had gone fully for sentiment, Andrew Considine would have been in the squad. Purely with the whole Serbia thing and I Can Boogie being his song and all that. But it does feel a wee bit weird that we're using that as our song still, and Consi isn't in the squad, to be fair. But I do feel like he has gone more for the guys that are in form and can contribute, so I'm pretty happy overall with the squad. Depends on the first 11 and how we play now, but we'll see. And Veggie's been quite bold saying Marshall's better than McGregor. I don't think you can say that after the season McGregor's just had.
Especially playing in Europe and stuff like that. And then it's unfair to compare him, considering the terrible season that Derby have had and being such a scraping through with being such a kind of well-known club down in England and having such a big fan base, and them literally going on that, and Rangers going like this, because Rangers were like, they needed it. Like, it's been a decade of dominance for Celtic without getting too much into the old for them. But I think it's unfair. It's unfair to compare the two.
Yeah.
On current season, do you know what I mean?
Just to clarify, Don, I wasn't saying that. I was saying Marshall's the best we've got in the squad. I still think McGregor's a better keeper.
Yeah.
So before I sound like I don't even know even more what I'm talking about. I've already been thrown under the bus for what I said about Portugal, maybe struggling with Cristiano a fair times. Alfie's just baiting in the chat now there.
that would be Alfie, the Derby fan.
It's not just Scotland that have had a wee debate keeper wise. England have had a back and forth as well with Henderson, with Pickford.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of average sort of mid to lower table Premier League goalkeepers where even like over the past since me watching England from the last 25 years of my life, whatever, when I've been able to remember it, it's like we've always like Seaman was probably our best keeper out of all that time, and that was ages ago. We've had Paul Robinson, Joe Hart, Rob Green, so many of them. Like I said earlier in the stream, I've been watching, maybe I said it to you lads just before we came on, but I've been watching tons of highlights of past Euros and World Cups, and the amount of Rob Green spillages, Joe Hart floppy hands that we've had is like unbelievable. And maybe we're just like an Allison or an Edison, like a really strong keeper away from actually doing something in a tournament, because like just the amount of times we've been let down by a goalkeeping error is mad. But I could maybe see that happening this year with a Pickford. Again, it doesn't seem like Henderson, Pickford, Pope, those keepers that we kind of have, or Ramsdale, like those ones that are in the Prem at the moment, it doesn't quite seem that they have that Schmeichel, that Allison like hunger sort of. I don't know kind of what the word is, but you know, that kind of level of quality that they have, that you know that they're gonna cojones. Yeah, there you go. It's that word again. But they don't seem to have that. You know, if you've got a defence in front of you, they know that your keeper's going to save it, sort of thing. That dominance. I don't think they have that, any of them. So it's you could pick any single one. I think they're all fairly similar. It's just I think Southgate likes Pickford for his like distribution.
Just a very quick callback to the previous chat there. I think Rampant's bang on. Ferguson's English Championship level just now, which is why he isn't in the squad, but he might well develop, and he wants out because Watford want him, basically. In terms of England, crazy amount of average goalkeepers. Nation seems to have the great keepers don't back it up outfield is an interesting one, because you look at your likes of France, have got Lloris, who's got a mistake in him. A lot of the big favourite countries have got a slightly dodgy keeper in nets. You very rarely see the two of them combining to have just an unbelievable 11, do you?
I'd say Casillas is probably one of the best that's won anything recently. Obviously, he lifted, I think, a few trophies for Spain. He was the captain for maybe all of all of their wins. I'm pretty sure he was. So he was probably one of the last ones that was like an amazing keeper plus an amazing outfield team. But you look at some of the ones down the years that have won stuff. Buffon, of course, he was a class keeper, and
Somebody
there's been
mentioned
some
earlier
great
on that
tournament keepers.
Buffon's apparently saying that he wants to keep going.
It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it's mad. Like, the longevity that players can have these days. With a lot of them don't drink, and a lot of them have like the best sports science in the world. You'll see keepers going well into their 40s. Look at Zlatan; he's going into his 40s playing as well. It's mad how long players can go now.
Happy birthday, Thomas. I've seen that flash up. I remember you saying last night. Casillas does feel so long ago because you had that thing with Spain. It was Casillas and Canizares fighting it out for the
Canizares, what a player! What a blast from the past that is.
As well. But
and even at
I
that
don't
time,
remember
they
England's
had kind of Valdez just after that as well. So like,
there's
another like
Pepe Reina. We had Pepe Reina at Liverpool.
So like,
Spanish.
there's like three world class keepers. Like, do you know what I mean?
And
so,
a lot of them wouldn't have got many caps. They wouldn't have got many. Like Pepe Reina probably just played in friendlies and stuff. But he's such a good keeper who would have been England's number one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think England have really had anyone at that level going way back. Seaman, I think Agrevi is the main man because even when you looked at when David James was playing Championship football, but he was still in the England team as number one. And
that's what I mean. We've got. I think it's the mentality of the maybe English as well. Like we're sort of set up for failure in tournaments, and there's no one that can fail as spectacularly as a goalkeeper. So I think that's why we see the Rob Green moments and the Joe Hart moments where I don't think we've got that mentality England to really have that.
I like Nick Pope. And,
I was just about to say that Nick Pope. I like him a lot.
Mm-hmm. He seemed to get a wee chance, and then he's just been ditched for. I think Henderson and Pickford are seen as the top two now, are they? But
they are, yeah.
Both of them are prone to a mistake, and they're both not the biggest. Is the other thing. Mm-hmm. So penalties, you'd maybe be a wee bit worried about either of those two and goals.
Although Pickford did alright in the last penalty of the only penalty shootout we've won, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. Goalkeeper wise, it's always. Like you can have a good keeper and go really far in a tournament, I suppose, but have an average keeper and the defence is a bit more shaky. Especially you look at Stones for us. I'm sorry to take it so far into England, but you look at Stones and how he's usually so good with Diaz. Having him and Maguire and then like a shaky keeper, it's like, oof, I don't know.
But that's the other thing that, like, just keeping this on England just now and kind of tying it into the whole conversation. The thing that I think England will struggle with is defensively because you've got a keeper who's potentially prone to a mistake, combining that with an unfit Maguire if he's playing, or Tyrone Mings, who's more
Ben
than
White
capable of giving away a penalty. I quite like Ben White, but again, he's not the most experienced.
That's what I mean.
Connor Cody, again, I'm not a massive fan of.
Well, Connor Goldson, a lot of people have been talking about. I think I saw it in the chat as well a little while ago. Like, that's just the. I think the English looking down on the Scottish League a lot of the time. Like, surely Goldson would play for Villa and for Wolves.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like the reputation thing. It's like Goldson's a winner. He's barely conceded a goal this season, and he's not in the squad purely because he plays for Rangers. And it's like, I think sometimes England can not pick players based on what league they play in. Honestly, I do. Like, it's like Bellingham. I think a lot of people would overlook him because he's not playing in the Prem, even though he's playing for Dortmund.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Meg, I've just sorted that there for you now, mate. The thing that will stop England going far in this tournament is that weakness they've got with the centre back and keeper, that kind of wee triangle. You need to be solid as a rock in there. Mm-hmm. Arguably, Scotland still have a wee bit of question marks there as well. As solid as Marshall is and unspectacular, with the three centre backs, Tierney, Hendry, Hanley's my worry, to be honest, because Hanley again is prone to a mistake. I much prefer Liam Cooper, but that's not going to be the way we're going to go, unfortunately. But I think that will hold England back from going too far in this tournament. I could still see quarterfinals possibly, but
the media. I just saw that comment there. The media and the Iceland game, like that's personified. Like that Iceland game was one of the worst experiences for an England fan ever. That was another Joe Hart masterclass.
Tav should play for Scotland.
See, funnily enough, can give a bit of background now because I've seen a couple of Tav comments there. Yep. He's unlucky that he's a right back for England firstly because they've got about 50. Scotland did look at bringing him in because he's eligible from July technically, but under the gentleman's agreement, England have vetoed it. So
can I ask how he's eligible? What's his background?
Residency.
Right. Okay.
There's a gentleman's agreement between the home nations that say if it's purely residency, they're not going to do it unless there's schoolboy connotations there. So going back to when Andrew Driver was doing really well at Hearts, he would have been eligible for Scotland because through the school system he was in Scotland. But they agreed years and years ago that they wouldn't just take each other's players purely through residency playing in the league.
So we've got another reason not to like England now.
Yeah, we're keeping Tav away from you. We're scared.
Hold on, I get my scroll it to add it on in the bottom.
Sorry,
we're happy we can beat you without set piece.
Long story short, it's independence for Tavernier.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tav will not play for Scotland because England have said no.
That's such a shame. Tav would be unreal for you. Like, imagine having Robertson, Tierney, Tav.
But it's interesting because he actually talked about that on his Twitch channel. That's how we know about it. So otherwise, I don't think the story would have got out. But he was clearly interested.
Power of Twitch.
Power of Twitch. There you go. Mainstreaming all that these days. And Maldon's got a point. Yeah, Jordan Rhodes was through the school thing as well. So as long as, I think it's like the age of 12 or 13, as long as you're in that country at that point and you stay there the whole way, you can switch allegiance. Ryan Giggs played for England schoolboys as well, didn't he? So there's a few.
I think Owen was at Wales as well. There's been a few little crossovers, yeah.
But, and there's because Marlow, I think it might have been Winovo. I think it might well have been, but it's been years and years now that they've done it. And Ryan Giggs played for England schoolboys, mega all the way through to senior level. Kind of what Che Adams did, played for England schoolboys all the way, and now he's Scottish. That's
a strange one that Giggs went and chose Wales, really, because England for years, all we needed was a left mid, pretty much. We would play Stevie G out there and Lampard out there. Scholes obviously played left mid as well.
Yeah, Rice with Ireland, Jambo's another one. Yeah, good.
Right, and Grealish. Grealish, they were trying to get Grealish went to Ireland at some point.
That's right. Yeah.
Was McGeady not the same as well?
By the way, McGeady was the same. So that's a good point to begin to round this up because we're over our time, gentle. So before we do kind of final sign-offs, I'll ask you for a final prediction for today's game. 8 o'clock kick-off tonight, BST. Italy facing Turkey. What's your scorelines? Sam first.
2-1 to Italy. A tight game, but Turkey to score.
Go on then, Juddy.
3-0 and a lasagna, man.
Kevin Lasagna's not been called up, mate.
Yeah, 3-0 Italy.
I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I think it'll be tight and I fancy Turkey, so I've got to back up my words. Otherwise, I've been speaking nonsense constantly for the last hour. So,
just a quick one as well. Who's your golden boot prediction? That was one thing I wanted to ask you. But
that's a good way to finish it. Yeah.
Mine's is like Lukaku.
I'm going to go Mbappe.
I think Lukaku as well. They've got a good Mbappe. You could probably maybe make the case that he's got a hard group and might not do that well in the group. Whereas Lukaku could, get a hat trick in the group and maybe Belgium will go far in the tournament as well. I think Lukaku's a good shout.
The only worry I've got about Belgium is De Bruyne not being fit. Because if he was Lukaku, you could make a case easily. If he's not there, he's not going to get as good service. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
I think Lukaku's a penalty taker also.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't say Lyndon Dykes.
I mean, Che Adams more than
Che Adams is a boy. He's got to be starting first. But they'll probably play too, but Che Adams is first name in the team sheet for
Benzema, yeah. Benzema's
a shout. That's
not just not get injured like 2 days, like the last friendly though. He's like a doubt for the first game.
There you go. Theorist is bang on it. Saying isn't he injured? I'd missed that in all honesty.
I think he picked up a small injury.
Immobile's a decent shout because the Italians don't have that many goal scorers out and out. Davy Marshall for Tom Cook. I'm not even showing that on screen. Right. That brings us to an end for the morning of the first game of the tournament. Sam, do you want to share your kind of links and so on firstly? So YouTube.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I'll be. I've already done a load of pre-build-up Euros content as well, and I've got vlogs coming pretty much every day of the Euros from fan parks and other just Euro-related locations around England and Scotland. And you can follow me on YouTube, subscribe on there, Footy Adventures, and I'm on Instagram, footy.adventures, and on Twitter as well. And all that information is in my About page on YouTube anyway.
And when you're there, watch Sam's video from Kelty. You'll see me in it as well, getting a bit of chat.
Check that out, Kelty v Brora.
Scottish lower league's obviously more important than the Euros, technically.
Of course,
Juddy, where can people find you, my friend?
Probably everywhere. Probably people sick of seeing me now. But no, you can get me on Twitter, Juddy19X, Twitch, play games on there. But we've got a football podcast. We interview professional footballers. It's just on a break just now while we do our Around the World in 80 Shirt series. The new one comes out in a couple of hours. But you can get me on Twitter and you can catch me with some exclusive content of me in a kilt for the next few weeks. Only on Twitter. So yeah. Aye.
Legs out.
Legs out. Legs out. So, yeah.
Right.
Aye, that's about it.
Thank you very much, each
No,
and every
thank
one
you
of you,
for
for
having us
joining
on.
us again this morning.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
you
you.
guys for joining me as well.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the first. Yeah, we didn't mention Kane the whole thing, which we're not going to go there now, Alfie. Enjoy the first game. We'll see you bright and early again tomorrow morning. I have Ryan118 and Davey Buick joining me for Talking Scottish Football, so that should be a good laugh as well. But until then, enjoy your day and enjoy your weekends when they come. Catchies.